the sincerity of what I was saying. And perhaps it's wise for anyone questioning this to pray about it and to say, God, would you give me insight into your real nature? Would you give me insight as to who you are? Would you give me insight into some of the mysteries of your nature that are revealed in Scripture? Perhaps your eyes will be open to things you've never seen before. Perhaps you'll begin to see the radiance of the Son of God shining forth in the glory of his Father. I want to move on now to another subject of great importance. We've talked a lot about Sinai and the revelation at Sinai and the fact that God made clear who he was at Sinai. He also made clear at Sinai that this covenant he was making with Israel was what was going to single them out. And that the giving of his Torah to his people, his teaching, his laws, instruction, was what was going to make them a special covenant people in the earth. And there is great debate and great discussion about the Torah, the law. Many Jews will say to translate Torah with law is a mistake that gives a wrong impression. The fact that the New Testament and the Septuagint use the word nomos, which primarily means law, to translate Torah, is often said to be an error. And yet, the rabbis will frequently talk about the written law and the oral law. So if we understand law rightly, not just laws and commands, but divine instruction, divine teaching, then we're rightly understanding Torah. It can refer to specific laws and commands, such as this is the Torah for this offering or that offering. But broadly speaking, the Torah of the Lord is the divine instruction, but with authority, hence his law. Is the law a gift and a blessing, or is the law a burden and a curse? Is the law something that was to be temporal, or was the Torah to go on for all generations? Did Jesus abolish the Torah? Did Paul abolish the Torah? How does this relate to Jews who follow Yeshua today? Let's go back and lay certain foundations and ask certain questions. Is the Torah a gift? Is the Torah a burden? Is the Torah meant to be observed through the generations to the end of time? Will the Torah be observed in the Messianic age? Is it impossible to truly keep the Torah? These are some of the questions that we want to ask. The first thing, there's no question whatsoever, but that Torah was a gift from God to his people Israel. No question about it. Deuteronomy 4, 5, and 6. Deuteronomy 10, 12 through 23. Deuteronomy 32, 47. This is what makes Israel special. They've been given the Torah. Some Christians think of law in a negative sense. They paint law as negative and grace as positive. Thank God I'm not under all those laws. And then they talk to a religious Jew, and the religious Jew is thanking God for the gift of the Torah. You think, well, I don't get it. I thought this was negative. Where do Christians get that understanding from? Is that a misconception? Is that what the New Testament actually teaches? There's no question when God gave Torah, he's saying, listen, no other nation has laws like this. No other nation has a God near like this. This is what makes you special, chosen out, called out. Deuteronomy 32, 47 makes it clear these words are our life. Everyone knows the words of Psalm 1. Blessed is the man, Ashrei ha'ish asher lo halach b'tzat l'sha'im. Blessed is the man who doesn't walk in the counsel of the wicked. Derech ha'ta'im lo amar moshav leitzim lo yeshav. He doesn't sit among the wicked, stand among the unrighteous. Ki'im b'torat Adonai chefso. But his delight is in the Torah of the Lord. And in his Torah he'll meditate, speak, recite day and night. It's a good thing, Torah. In Joshua 1:8, Lo yamush sefer Torah ze mipicha. Don't let this book of Torah depart from your lips. V'hagita bo yomam v'layla. Meditate in it, recite it day and night so that you can succeed. You can do what's written here and succeed so you can take the land, Joshua. I mean, there are whole psalms like Psalm 19, after speaking of God's revelation in nature, then speaks of his revelation through Torah. Praises Torah. Psalm 119, the whole of the psalm is basically praising the law, the teaching, the commandments of God. It's certainly a gift. Some have even claimed that Psalm 19:8 in the King James, which says that the law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul, that the Torah is actually able to save and convert the soul. Actually, that's a mistranslation of the words there, mishivat nafesh, which are really refreshing, restoring the soul. But it says plainly that this is a good thing. The teaching Torah of the Lord is perfect, renewing life, as translated in the New Jewish Version. So where do we get this notion that the Torah is bad somehow? Where do we get this understanding that the Torah is a curse or a burden or a weight? It's negative. We'll see in a little while that Paul lays things out and has many wonderful things to say about the law of God, but then also has things to say about the law that would seem negative. But this is a fundamental point he makes. The law itself is spiritual and good. The problem is human nature. Within days of God giving his covenant at Mount Sinai, it's just a matter of less than 40 days that these very words are now bringing judgment on the people because of their idolatry and their sin. I mean, think of it. Within a month and a half of Torah being given, God's ready to wipe out the nation. Moses has to plead and intercede. And how many are killed? 3,000. It's just an interesting parallel to the number of believers that came to faith, Jews that came to recognize Yeshua as Messiah. At Shavuot, Pentecost in Acts 2, it's 3,000. Immediately after the giving of the Torah, which are, these are words of life, these are good commands, these are revelation of who God is and how he wants us to live, teaching purity and teaching holiness and teaching morality and teaching godly ethics. Everything about the Torah is good. The problem is human beings continually fall short. Human beings continually rebel. And Paul has the insight that the commandment, which in itself is intended for life, brings death because of our sin. In the simplest illustration, it's like when you see the sign that says, do not touch. You know, wet paint, do not touch. You're suddenly curious, is it really wet or not? If I touch it, will anything happen? Whereas it was the last thing on your mind before to touch it. How many of parents here have experienced the reality of what's written in Proverbs, that foolishness or folly is bound up in the heart of a child and the rod of correction will drive it out? That your wonderful little child, your extraordinary little boy, your little girl, this amazing kid, so cute, that one of the first words they learn is no. Where'd they get it from?